A man and a cat lived all alone, shared everything in a shack called home. Got beat to one pork chop, the cat grabbed the man's shop. Put it down, let it hit the ground. See no low-down hound, cat put it back. Drop that skin, ease it back in there.
Oink oink, a boogly boogly piggy, oink oink, a piggly piggly, oink oink, oink oink, a boogly boogly piggly piggy, oink oink.
Yo, welcome to Under the Influence Cocktails and Consciousness. This is a critical thinking platform where we talk about issues that are important to the black millennial and then some issues that are not so important. As we know, sometimes these issues are tough, so we handle them with a cocktail. Welcome, it's your host Caleb, and joining me the oh so ever so lovely Ivory.
Hi.
All right. Today's topic, man. Oh, to bring in the New Year's, man. It's our first topic of
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's. First topic of the new year, and we'll have a great year. It's gonna be a great year for everybody and us. We'd like to thank you guys for supporting us, and hope that you continue to do so. We'll give you good content. We saw some good conversations sparking up. Keep them going, all right? But today the topic is let's give you a little backstory. So the backstory is we watched this little Sammy Davis Jr. documentary, and then we did a little bit of reading on Sammy Davis Jr. because we were kind of sparked by the documentary. So we kind of looked it up. Now, the biggest thing is this. People don't really know where to put Sammy is, because Sammy became famous as far as being with the Rat Pack. And that was of course, like everybody else in the Rat Pack was white. And so people saw him as kind of a coon. That's the word that, just popularly these days, particularly anyway, coon.
Someone who's trying to be white.
Right,
Someone who would
assimilates.
prefer to be white than black.
Right, you know what I mean?
That's your definition.
And what we saw was kind of like
I hate that term, by the way.
right, she hates it, right? What we saw was kind of like a very interesting thing. So we decided to do a show on it. So basically, this is going to be all the stars who kind of, help black people move forward, but were seen or sometimes are still seen as coons or people trying to be like white people, all right?
But it's like the conversation should really be focused around black people who were artists, entertainers, musicians, dancers, in the early 1900s, mid 1900s, and we're really trying to figure out if some of the things they did help black culture or hurt black culture in terms of assimilating into white culture or wanting to be accepted by white people. So was it hurtful or helpful? And so I think we were having a conversation about whether, some people who say what Sammy Davis Jr., which we'll talk about, is cooning. Is it really cooning, or is it something that really knocked down a lot of doors for other black artists and entertainers to come through and not have to do certain things, right?
So, has the coons helped us overcome?
I'm not calling them coons. I don't think they're coons.
I don't think so either, but just to let people know, get a general thing, you know what I mean? They know what that is. And we see coons as being like a bad thing, like they all against black people, but what we're saying
Where did that
is
term come from?
coon, I think that was like in the South or some shit. Like it came, of course, from the South, right? Everything racist comes from the South. But like, it was like, a derogatory word for black people, a coon. I remember.
I just think that
My first time I really heard it was in Remember the Titans, because it wasn't new. You know what I mean? This is not something
it's
that
not
was
a new term,
but they kind of bringing it back.
it's just something that's like so thrown out so quickly and so easily to people, as if we really know what it really, really means. Like, I think a mature-minded person would not be so quickly to call another black person a coon just because they're doing something you don't agree with or you wouldn't do yourself.
Bam. And that's kind of what's striking our conversation today, because Sammy Davis Jr., one of the things he did was one of the infamous things that he did, and it was during a time which was kind of tumultuous as far as, race relations in America, kind of like it is now. But Richard Nixon was the president, and we all know that Richard Nixon didn't really have the best, in mind for black people. But what he did was give him a big hug in the middle of everybody. And this is what cats had, Black Panthers, cats wearing afros and shit like that. Sammy, I believe he had a perm. But he gave him a big hug, and people wasn't really rocking with that. But one thing that Sammy Davis Jr. did say was that he didn't have a roadmap. He didn't know exactly what the hell he was doing because nobody had done it before him. So when you're an innovator, you really kind of go, you kind of gotta just give you your best. What he did say, he was trying to be famous. He was trying to be rich. And he did that. And in doing that, he also opened many doors for the next artists who necessarily don't even have to do the things that he had. That nobody has to hug Donald Trump nowadays unless they want to. So I don't know what you think about that, Ivory.
I think that in regards to Sammy Davis Jr., because this is, I've done research on him in the past. It's not my first time being familiar with his story. When I was younger, and I would read up on him and other black people who did innovative things in post-slavery, in the early 1900s. As young, when I was young, my first thought was he was too happy, too smiley, too ready to dance and to perform and to entertain white people. And why did he have to do that? It shouldn't have to be that way. I immediately wrote him off as someone who was too eager to get white acceptance, which in my younger mind thought that was inherently someone who had weak character. And so I would say now, as now I'm older and I'm mature, I've learned that while some of those things may be true in terms of he was seeking acceptance, and I knew that I know this about him because I was reading Eartha Kitt's biography, and Eartha Kitt's somebody that I'm really obsessed with. And so she talked about how she had a friendship with Sammy Davis Jr. And on one occasion, he would come visit her, and what she got from him was a man who desperately wanted to be liked by people. He wanted to be accepted. And so that now I feel like that went across the boards, whether you were white, black, blue, or green. And so he grew up in a time where he was an entertainer from a very young age. And so he was born and bred to entertain people and to garner acceptance from people. And he was willing to do that no matter what. And I think that it takes now, as a mature woman, I think that it takes a lot of bravery and a lot of guts to do something that is oftentimes life-threatening, as it was for him in a lot of ways. They say in a documentary, he went to he was in the army for a little while, and he was brutalized viciously. They painted him white, they pissed in his drink, and these are things that will take any person out, and they'll say fuck it, fuck white people, I don't want to do any of this. But he got back up, and he never stopped. And so now I think that it's admirable for someone to be consistent in pursuing something that they want despite backlash. And I'm not one to say, could he have done it? Could he have been a little less, I don't even know what to call it, less willing or eager to please white folks? Possibly, but I'm not one to judge his path and what he chose to do. What we do know is that he is written down in history as somebody who has been able to defeat a lot of odds and knock down a lot of doors, whereas people who, particularly black people who probably were sitting at home judging him, nobody knows their name. So I think it's something to be said about that. So my assessment is that he probably did do some things that compromised his character, but I think that during that time, that era in our history as black people, you had to do things that sometimes weren't pleasing to the soul in order to get what you wanted in life, because of the plot that America placed us in through slavery. And they did it so that our generation wouldn't have to. And so that's the bottom line. So I admire that. I admire his guts.
And also another thing that he said, because even though that did happen to him in war, when he got older, he did have friends, Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra, and a couple others that did kind of put him in places that did open the door. So him having the kind of personality that he did have, even after going through the things he did go through, I think that deemed that was interesting, and that gave him a very interesting way of looking at things, which was also, I can't judge people that I don't know. What I mean? I can't say that this white person's racist from a distance. I can't say this black person is really my brother, my real brother. What I mean? Somebody who really wants the best for me from a distance. Because, as we know now, it can go either way until you get to know, till you know what's going on with somebody. You know what I mean? And so I definitely, people will say that's a coon way of thought, because we get trapped into this black and white way of thinking, where it's just like, oh, either you're with us or you're against us. And like, I think the best way is to be in the middle, man. The most empathetic way is to be in the middle and judge people when you deal with them.
Right. I think everybody should be, given a fair chance. But I also think that it's really, given our history, I think it's very important for us to be critical of white people
for sure.
and white thinking, because I think that even well-meaning white people sometimes can be, damaging because they come from a history of privilege. They don't even know that sometimes they can perceive themselves as being superior. So for example, like with the Rat Pack and Frank Sinatra, like there were times watching the documentary, I did feel like they were entertained by Sammy Davis, and they were intrigued by the fact that, like, this black man that they did befriend was funny and was so talented, and they sometimes, even if you're a well-meaning white person, you forget that this is a human being, and you're just so happy that they are like singing and dancing and like performing for you, and you're just so happy to have that around. It's kind of similar to like the relationship between athletes and white audiences. It's just like you forget that they're human, and you look at them as somebody that you love because of what they've been able to do. So I did kind of get that a little bit when I was watching. Like they perceive him a certain way.
Yeah, and he made the money. I mean, that's the thing about it.
They made him money too.
Yeah,
right?
So it's the same thing. Plus, also, but at the same time, Dean, Frank Sinatra was kind of like a mob guy, or I would say mob guy, but kind of like one of those guys. So I think they see life differently a little bit anyway.
Yeah,
like
I
those
don't think
people.
he was
Because he wasn't like a straight laced dude. I mean, he was like, all right, man, fuck it, like,
Yeah, I definitely
bada bing,
don't
bada
think
boo, type shit.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think, but I do think that there is some level of like, you're not better than me. While I like you, I like who you are, you're not better than me though. I don't know, maybe it's just, but that's just sometimes I think, given that time, that era, and just the lineage that, like, white people come from, especially during that time, sometimes you can't help but to think that way.
Yeah. Well,
But maybe not. I could be wrong.
Yeah. But speaking on the money side of the game, get the phone going off. All right. But speaking on the money side of the game, we actually, we didn't want Sammy to be the only quote unquote. I don't want to say
person that was perceived as a coon,
who actually, helped us out. Now, we would go in history as far as entertainment. We went all the way back to Step and Fetch It. Now, Step and Fetch It was actually an actor named Lincoln Perry. Now, I saw a documentary one time called While We Laugh, and it was a great documentary. I think directed by Robert Townsend, and he always talks about this, because even from Hollywood Shuffle, he's talked about this, basically, that black actors have to kind of play a role in Hollywood that they're not really like that. You know what I mean? But as far as Step and Fetch It, Lincoln Perry, he was deemed, his character Step and Fetch It was deemed the laziest man in the world. Now, off the camera, Lincoln Perry was actually brilliant. He was brilliant. Like, he spoke. Now, it's a part also. Actually, it's a part in Hollywood Hustle where Robert Townsend is playing his character. Then he stops and he has this very English, very brilliant tone of speech.
Vocabulary.
Vocabulary. That is exquisite.
Exactly.
Type shit. And that's who he was playing. He was playing Lincoln Perry. He was kind of playing a play off Lincoln Perry, because that's how he was. He was actually a writer. He was actually, brilliant. But, Lincoln Perry was actually the first black millionaire. entertainer, right?
Yes, he was.
The first black millionaire entertainer.
Yes, he
So when we
was.
talk about people cooning, or we talk about people wanting to be accepted, or such and such, I mean, no other comedian, nobody else who was kind of like, brother, pat. None of them niggas was like opening doors. You know what I mean? So when you look at that, it kind of gives you a different respect for it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and also it makes you think about how like this man was very well read. He actually had degrees,
Oh yeah.
and he was someone who, like you said, was intelligent. And so our first perception of him off face value were watching the films, which are very hard to watch, admittedly. Like I've seen a few like clips of like Step and Fetch in it, and I was like really uncomfortable because he really did dumb himself down for the character. But if you really think deeply about it, someone as intelligent as him, you got to be able to trust that like he wasn't just doing this because he didn't know any better. He had an agenda. He had intentions behind what he was doing, right? Like you gotta be able to trust that sometimes. Oh yeah, and then I think about too, like I've been reading this book called Negro Land, and it's about the black elite during like the early 1900s to maybe like the 1960s, and how like it was a movement amongst black people to create the perception that we were well put together, and we should be accepted by white people because we had education, and we knew how to dress well, and that we had a quote unquote good career, and we went to school. And it's something to be said about that too, because some people literally drives themselves mentally crazy trying to conform and be accepted. And also how that is not always gonna win you white acceptance either. So this character Stepping and Fetchit was given such a hard time because people felt at that time that he was continuing the stereotype of black people, and he was reinforcing these ideas that white people had about black people. But in reality, like if a white person thinks a way about you, they're gonna think that about you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so I don't think it's fair to put like these responsibilities on one single or a group of black people to be a certain way so that white people can like us. Like it's not about that, in my opinion. Although I don't really have like a good excuse or reason why he played those characters, I do want to believe that like he was doing
Who's
it.
Step and Fetch It?
Yeah.
That was the only thing available.
Right. Okay. It was the only thing
That was the only thing available.
Yeah.
That was entertainment.
He was gonna make his money.
He was gonna make his money.
Right. And I mean that money did go back to like a lot of things. Like we didn't even get to mention that about Sammy. Like a lot of his money went to like bailing Martin Luther King out of jail. It went to the civil rights movement. It went to like organizing for a lot of things during that movement. And so that is really essential, because I know you and I, Caleb, talk a lot about whether protesting is something that is worth doing, like if it's a waste of time or not. And there's a lot of people who maybe it's not their style to be out in the trenches protesting. There are a lot of people who do donate money to organizations or philanthropic things that support black people directly, and we gotta be mindful of that too. So I think it always goes back to like we don't even have room as a people to be judging one another on why we decide to do a thing. You know what I mean? Like there's just no room for that unless it's like very clear that your intentions are wrong. Like Don Lemon.
Hey, Don Lemon might be given to the struggle.
Yeah, but it's
I just want people to be critical in their thought process, and don't be surprised, because you don't let it get to somebody's death to where that's the only time you ever thought that could have been possible. Because you never know. People can't let this certain shit can't let get out. I mean, you can't. You might. You never know. You never not be surprised. But
real.
but you never know, because I would have never thought that. I honestly would never thought that about Sammy Davis Jr. I didn't really give it two clicks of a thought, because honestly I thought he was Jewish. I thought he was a black Jewish guy for some reason.
He is.
But his mom, but how did he turn?
I
Was it
think he
Jewish
did.
religion? Because I mean, his
Yeah.
mom was Cuban and something else,
Yeah,
and his dad was black. So
man.
what was the
But
Jewish part
I
come?
think he did.
I thought he was like Drake. Oh, okay.
No, he wasn't biracial.
Right, I thought he was like Drake or something.
I think he converted.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But I
right.
think that it's something to be said about, like, I don't know if Don Lemon is doing this. He's not relevant to this conversation, but I do think it's something powerful to be said about somebody who is on TV perceived as being, this happy-go-lucky black character, or this, lazy, I don't want to do anything by character. But when the camera shut off, they are like with Lincoln Perry writing for the Chicago Defender, or they are sending money to bail Martin out of jail. I think it's something powerful about that dynamic. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing this, but when nobody's looking, I'm really helping my people, and I'm doing work that, like, a lot of people who are talking shit about me aren't doing.
And I fuck with that, because also we get caught into the trying to change shit that we don't do shit. We don't get the resources to change shit.
Yeah.
If you keep these people are like, all right, man, you know what? It is the way it is, which we really don't want to do, but we're gonna do it anyway and get the paper and then send the paper back.
Right.
If everybody did that, then I feel like that's my only thing with protests sometimes. They went out and protest, but you know what, they're gonna get some money. Because they're like, I really know that I can't get no paper like that. So when they don't get the paper, fuck that shit. Otherwise we all be out there. You know what I mean?
I think it's no right or wrong. I always say that, like, if what one person chooses to do, if it's not hurting anybody, then I can't really knock it. And I guess, like, the argument comes in with, like, people feeling like what one black person does, it affects the masses because of how white people choose to perceive us. Some white people. But you can't control how they perceive you. Like, they've killed the best of us. Like, you can't control that.
Yeah.
So, who else was on the list?
Jackie Robinson.
Oh.
He integrated baseball.
Yeah.
Now think about that. Jackie Robinson was seen as a coon because, of course, we have the Negro leagues and stuff like that. But and I think Jackie Robinson was, he wasn't like, one of them type of cats. Jackie Robinson was kind of like, educated and kind of straight laced a little bit. Everybody else, all right, but
He spoke very proper,
proper and everything like that. And they kind of saw him as a coon, whatever like that. But
the sound of his voice, like, I was surprised when I heard it too. Like, if you weren't looking at the screen, it didn't sound like a black man with, like, bass in his voice.
Right.
So.
And, people see him as a coon, and he integrated baseball. He changed the game. Now, I don't agree with integration. I wish that we kept the Negro League, because if we had Negro League baseball, Negro League basketball, Negro League football now, then, the game would change. But, on another thought, Jackie Robinson didn't have a, script. He was doing the best he could, and it was him that was able to do that. You know what I mean? And he got a lot of money for it. You know what I mean? Now we know, like I said, I don't want to keep going back over it, but it wasn't kind of worth it.
You see the pattern.
Yeah, see the pattern. But, the thing about it is he still was not a coon at the end of the day. He really wasn't. I mean, but we perceived him as that. Also, Hattie McDaniel. Go ahead, tell him about Hattie McDaniel.
Right, she was the first black woman to get an Oscar for supporting actress role in the film Gone with the Wind. And she played several roles as an actress, as being the maid, as being the hard-hitting, what a lot of people refer to in terms of black female stereotypes as the mammy, as like the black woman who know it all and is gonna cook your meal and tell you what to do, and you know what I mean, and has no complexity and no emotions to her. She's just somebody who cooks and is all knowing, and is gonna pray for you in the end. And so so it's that mammy role. She got a lot of flack from the black community about that, and she had gone on record to say that, like, I would rather play a maid than to be one. And it goes back to my whole saying, different strokes for different folks. Like, that's what she decided she was gonna do, and she wasn't hurting nobody doing that, and that's, and I can respect that on some levels. I do think it's sad that, like, even during the time when she won the Oscar, she had to enter during like a segregated back door to like get into the ceremony, and so those things, like, they suck that it has to be that way. But what happens is that women like her open doors for other women and men and actors to not always have to choose those roles, because like you said earlier, that was all that was available for us anyway, and so who are we to knock them from choosing to do something that was going to feed them and their families? So yeah, she was another one who got a flack for choosing certain roles.
All right, and the biggest thing about these people, Hattie McDaniel, Jackie Robinson, Lincoln Perry, and Sammy Davis Jr., is they open the door so people don't have to do that shit no more. So when you think about it, I mean, so with that being said, also we gotta use the coon word now. We bring it back. You see anybody doing it now, they cooning. Because you have a choice now. You don't have to do these things anymore. That's why I didn't understand shit like the maids. What was that shit about the help? You know what I mean? We don't need to bring that shit back. Because when you bringing that shit back, it's like, well, why are we bringing that shit back now?
This is one reason why I'm not agreeing with that statement, is because with something like, even though the help was not easy for me to watch either, I understand it. It's difficult to see, us playing roles that are subservient and that kind of trigger like our past where, it was hard. But what I think on some level, why I think that some those movies are important is because there's a whole generation of people who don't even know that, like, we had mothers and aunts and grandmas who had to fucking like clean and cook for white people so that we could survive and so that we can eat, and that needs to be known. And so it gives a story to women who were forgotten about and who were voiceless, who got up every day and walked miles to somebody's house and cleaned somebody's house so they can bring food and back home to put on their family's table. And I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of black women who did this for years, and that's forgotten about. And so I do think that their story should be told. And so on that level, if I am an actress who is talented and feel passionate about telling someone's story, I feel like I'm going to do that. So I think that it absolutely needs to be done in taste and with validity, meaning like you got to tell the facts. Then yes, those stories need to be told over and over and over, because what happens is white America likes to forget about what they've done to us in a lot of ways. And so I don't have a problem with movies that depict, times during slavery or times during the civil rights movement or times when, we had to do things that were demeaning, because people need to see and they need to remember. The problem is that there's no balance, but I think that those movies are important, and that's my take on it.
All right, well, you have to be careful, man, because you start cooning. When we start cooning, NAACP come after you, man. Like Shine and Marlon Wayans, man. You know what I mean? They was cooning. They kind of took it back and step and flat shit and shit like that, where you get the lazy brother, the dumb motherfucker. Now, this is what I'm saying. Outside of the show, Sean and Marlon are just dumb. Sean Marlon. Can I say Sean? Sean, I don't know what the Sean's gay. Sean seems like one of the really gay dudes to me. He's really a pretty boy. He always, every time he in a movie, he does something gay. He's the nigga to tuck his penis. He was that nigga. He was the nigga who got the Ray fuck me, that shit in the scary movie. Ray, fuck it. I was like, dude, why does he always do the gays? But whatever. But Marlon, I think he's just a really creative ball of goofiness. He's a big ass kid. You know what I mean? So he's just like, fuck it. And I feel like if they did like,
he has a very weird sense of humor.
Yeah, somebody ran to him right now and said, go. He just started acting like that. Falling around and acting like goofy. So like, but the point is the NAACP went after them. All right.
But the irony in that is that they gave Stephen and Fincham, which we know is Lincoln Perry, they gave him an NAACP Image Award, later in the years, like an honorary one, because maybe they kind of seen it the way that we're talking about as a way, he did a lot of things in the black community and things like that. So
It's not cooning the first time. And I also want to leave the door open for that. It's not cooning the first time. I think that should be what it is.
Oh, God.
Because going forward, we still have some doors that are kind of up for us. Like, honestly, let me give you an example. Tiger Woods. People say Tiger Woods is a coon. Tiger Woods is literally one of the best golfers in the world. He is a little confused and everything like that, but like literally, he's one of the best golfers in the world. If black kids want to golf now he has somebody to look up to. That's literally. Now, did he mess with the white girl and she took all his money and shit? Yes. Is he messing up his golf game now? Yes. Did he kind of sell us out on the Calibalasian shit? Yes. But listen, what I'm saying to you is that literally that we don't have to do that again. We don't have to do that. We will never have to do that again. The next kid that comes out as a good golfer is going to be a good golfer. All right, I mean? So, I don't know, man. You know, certain people, you know what I mean? But like, I don't like the remix. Like I say, with like Tyler Perry, like the damn House of Pain. I'm not a fan of the House of Pain at all because is it the House of Pain? Whatever show that is with Brown is Brown and shit like that. Meet the Browns, the worst. I don't think it's the House of Pain is bad. Worst. I don't know because the father on there is kind of coon too. He be cooning too damn much. But like you know what I'm saying?
God.
Because he seemed like a coon ass Carl Winslow.
Okay.
He seemed like a coon Carl Winslow to me.
What show you talking about?
Meet the Browns. No, Meet the Browns. House of Pain. Right. Okay. Meet the Browns. I don't like Brown because that voice and all that silly shit he doing. You're like, come on, man, you're a grown ass man, and you got like you. Yeah. But he ain't like that in real life. He can actually sing very well. Yeah. He actually is kind of smooth. Like, come on, brother. Why you ain't? Come on, he ain't making $1 million, is he? He might be. But he ain't stepping fetching because $1 million back then is a lot of money. Yes, so you ain't getting stepping fetching money to be acting like that, brother.
Now, what if I'm playing devil's advocate right now? What if somebody said to you, just like we said, well, Marlon Wayans, he just has like a quirky sense of humor. What if someone said that's the way? What's his name to Meet the Brown spot? I'm a
think like we just said though, Mr. Brown. That's how he's very smooth. Dude's a singer and shit. He could dance and stuff. He ain't like that.
You saying Marlon Wayans is that?
He's like that. He's a silly motherfucker. Look at Marlon Wayans in Above the Rim. And Above the Rim is actually a serious movie. He played Boogaloo. And just look at Boogaloo. He's just a goofy motherfucker.
But look at that name.
Pass me the rock.
They decided to call him.
They did. You know what I mean?
I saw. Did you see the clip about that with him when Tupac was talking about?
Yeah, like Boogaloo.
But at least they knew. They they trying to play us, but they played that character.
Fucking hilarious. Boogaloo.
But that's like that whole
Hollywood Shuffle shit.
It's that because that a white person created that name. That's like that whole like what is it called? I have to think of the word, but it's basically like this whole infatuation or like this like infantilization of like black people that white people have where they see them as characters and not human beings.
Right.
And so like you like, oh, I can do this, I can twist them into this and I can make them this, not knowing that we have complexities, we're emotional people, we're very complex, critical thinking people. Y'all think y'all can mold us to whatever y'all want us to be, and most times they're very stereotypical roles. But anyway, back to Tyler Perry. So you feel like he is the modern day?
He's a coon puppet. He's a coon puppet master because he be cooning too when he put the dress on. But we also know Tyler Perry. Think about that when he comes out the dress, he's. Oh yes, he's very studly. He can be whatever he wants to be, type shit. So you don't have to be putting on dresses, brother. You already got on. Cause that's what I'm saying. He got on. That's a desperation. That was a desperation shit. I think that's a desperation shit to get on.
He said that it was he channeled a lot of women in his life who were there for him during really hard times, like his mother and his grandmother. Like that was his inspiration, like during times when things were difficult for him, like because he was homeless and everything in Atlanta.
If he channeled their ass, go get Angela Bassett.
Those characters came in his head.
Go get Angela Bassett and tell her what
she ain't gonna play that role.
Don't you say, you know what? I channeled them, so I'm gonna play this shit myself. What type of shit is that?
But listen, like if you have, but if you have them voices and that character in your mind, like you know what I mean, like you feel like you feel impelled to I'm not defending it, but I'm just maybe being like, giving you a different point of view on it. Maybe you feel like if this character is in your head, you feel like only you can recreate the way that you see it and envision it.
Right.
Because can't nobody else do that role of Medea like he can.
Hell, Brown could probably play Medea.
Well, there you have it.
I mean, anybody who's willing to coon could play Medea.
Yeah, I think
Jamie Foxx could play Medea.
with the whole like Tyler Perry films, most of them, and it's to me it's not necessarily like cooning or anything like that. To me it's more so it just like I was telling you before, it markets to a group of black people who are not critical
Church folks.
of definitely Christian church going people, but also like people are not critical of like white people, and who are taught to just be okay with what they got, and life will get better once you're dead,
Some crazy shit.
and so that makes you very complacent in life, and it makes you think less about or fight for your rights and fight for what you want in life. And so I think that he caters to those group of people who fantasize about what they want instead of actually going after it. Because if you see in his films, like it's very like fantasy, like she won the lottery and got a big house and a light-skinned husband, or her daddy died and she never knew her daddy, but he left $1 million for her and a home, and this light-skinned man found her and married her.
Yeah.
Like, and it's these things that women honestly who haven't found it within themselves to fight for their life, they fantasize about, much like what we talk about with urban fiction novels, which we talk about on another day.
Yeah.
So I think that's where my problem lies with him, and not necessarily that he coons, but that he doesn't give his characters and his storylines complexity. He gives them fantasy, and that's a problem for me.
But at the same time, he's a multi-millionaire, and he has big studios, and he has a lot of black people working for him.
And there you
so
have
if you're gonna do it again, so the same way as in like Sammy Davis Jr., he gave back to the struggle. Jackie Robinson gave his life because I think Jackie Robinson died kind of broke, but Lincoln Perry gave back. Hattie McDaniel gave back. You know what I mean? Tyler Perry, he's still giving back. If you're gonna coon in 2016, as long as you give back, the coon doors is open, because we know that you're not
But
really
you just
cooning.
got through saying you shouldn't coon. They had to do. You just got through saying people like Lincoln Perry, Sammy, Hattie McDaniels, they had to.
We still have to coon. That's the thing I'm telling you. Some people still have to coon today. You might,
Give me an
it's a
example.
difference between it's different levels of cooning. It's low, medium, and high coon capacities. You know what I mean? I think low cooning is when low cooning is you having to you really just
Put on a suit and tie and go to an interview.
not even that, because that's kind of like that's a different level. But like,
But some people would think that is, which
that
I
could
think
be
is ridiculous.
No, I think low level cooning is like it's conforming, or giving
Okay,
or
but
the
give me
act
an
of
example of
conforming,
what
the act of
conforming-
conforming, because like you might have these ideas that are not present in life, like Sammy Davis Jr. rock with Dr. Martin Luther King. His shit was only a dream. He dreamed that this shit was happening. You know what I mean? But he rocked with it. You know what I mean? So like you conform because it's like, I can't just come out and be this way, or I can't come out and say I feel this way, or I can't come out and do this because it's not realistic yet. But I see people who also do have the same thought process as me, and they actually have dedicated their life to that kind of work. So you know what I mean? So a low level cooning might be, conforming, like I say.
What type of conforming though? Because like what I'm saying is that, and I'm just trying to get clarity for myself. What I don't agree with this, but some people may perceive putting on a suit and tie and going to seek work as conforming to like white America's like traditional way of doing things, or some people may perceive getting married and living a monogamous lifestyle a European way of living, like that's conformity to some people. So what do you believe is conforming that translates to like low level cooning, like you know what I mean? So I just think that you gotta be careful with that, because it could be perceived in so many different ways.
Okay, well, low level cooning, I would say low level cooning is, I would say mid level cooning is maybe getting a suit and tie and shit. Because once you're awake, I think it was that James Baldwin said the to be awake is to be in a constant state of rage all the time.
Right.
So once you have awakened, and you still like you bottle that up, and you kind of go into a situation where you look and you like, you know what, I see it. This is it. Like this is it. And you stay there. You can't just stay there just for the hell of staying there. It'd be cooning to like that. It'd be cooning to be happy as hell and to get nothing from it and to be happy about it.
Now that's what I think. I think that because we all live in America, on some level we are conforming. We all are Americans.
Right.
But black people sometimes we're ashamed to say. I am sometimes when you're killing black people out there cold on the streets and not doing anything. I am ashamed of being an American sometimes, especially with black skin. But we live in America, so in a lot of ways, our conformity is natural because we are part of the way this world works or this country works. And so, with that being said, it goes back to what you said with James Baldwin. Like when you are aware that you live in this complex world where you kind of have to have a double consciousness as a black person, you are enraged because you feel like you have to choose. But it's okay to move forward in your life, choosing sometimes to do shit you may not necessarily want to, and be critical about it, be enraged about it, as opposed to choosing to be blind and being happy and smiling about it and smiling in white people's faces and you know what I mean, pretend like you're not bothered when you are bothered. Like I work with white people and I work for a predominantly white organization, but I'm not gonna go into my job if something shitty happened and pretend like I was happy with that shit. I'm gonna speak up, I'm gonna be critical about it, I'm gonna say, excuse me, this happened and I'm not happy with that. So I think that's where, in my opinion, the difference lies.
All right, and that's kind of low to mid-level cooning. Now, high-level cooning would be being in the limelight, like being in the public limelight.
Cooning, that's ridiculous. But anyway,
being in the limelight and not doing shit. Then you just high-level cooner. Like if you have the means to do something, and you just choose not to do it at all. And you just kind of like going along. You really kind of we really going along to get along, and you just kind of in it for you. And it's like, you know what? Me as a person, I could be fine. Fuck all that shit. I'm a coon for me. If you coon for you, you high level cooning.
You lost me.
all right, let me put it. Let me go backwards. Cooning for you is high level cooning. All right, cooning for you is high level cooning. Mid level cooning is cooning. Oh, I'm sorry.
Is high level cooning a good thing?
High level cooning is a terrible thing.
So you saying
that's why I'm saying it's too high.
But if a person is cooning for them, like I would think
it's too much.
Lincoln Perry was cooning for himself to make money, right?
No, but he gave it back. See, he gave it back. Sammy Davis Jr. was cooning for him, but he gave it back.
Okay, so the premise of it is only cooning if they're doing it for themselves and they're happy with it.
Right. Who's the best example of that? The best example of a high level, real deal, high level coon would be like Clarence Thomas, something like that.
Okay.
Like you high level because you really just
you're doing it for your own advancement. Right. You're not trying to give back to your people.
Right. That's like Clayton Bigsby or some shit like that. I don't know if you ever seen Dave Chappelle, but Clayton Bigsby, he really was like that's high level cool. All right, mid level cooning is when you. Yeah, I have that. See, I gotta do a coon chart since this show, man, because I don't want to mess it up.
This word anyway.
I don't want to mess it up, but I want to make since it's a word that's coming back. I want to kind of put my own definition on it. People saying this shit.
Who say it? Just the few people you listen to?
No, the black community.
Wholesale America.
The black community, and that's a big part of America. Those are the awakened individuals. I hope that a lot of them.
Anyway.
All right. So, but yeah, man. So that's our show, man. We're gonna beat the hell out of this one.
I want you to give an example of a person who's mid level and low level.
Who's mid level?
So high level for you is Clarence Thomas.
And right now, Don Lemon. Right now, Don Lemon is high level cooning. Mid level is what's my man's name? Al Sharpton.
You don't think he gives back to the black community?
He's mid-level cooning because I don't even know now.
He gives
at this point.
some back
because he has given back and he has helped, but he's cooned. So it's like you don't know. It's mid-level right now. You're mid-level cooning because he think about it. Black America pay attention to him and say, you know what, this is a leader. But kind of some Black Americans like, I don't know what's going on with this dude all the way. So it's kind of like he mid-level cooning. He didn't been telling any all type of shit, you know. And low-level cooning is when like you know. You cooning for the hell of it, man. It's kind of like you cooning for the hell of it. Like you don't even have to.
I'll give you a good example. I told you about this. What happened at work where we were having it was a group of co-workers.
Oh, yeah.
We was having a discussion about race, and it was 2 black women, myself and another black woman, a black man, and it was 4 white women. So we was having a discussion about race, and they were talking about when they have to go back for the home for the holidays and have conversations with some of their family members, the white female coworkers, and saying this, and it was going to be hard for them. And the black male has said, I just really feel so sad for y'all that it must be really hard to have to, have these conversations with family members who don't get it. I just feel so sorry for y'all. And I'm looking at him like, what the fuck? And then luckily, so I think that's low level and I see this, a lot with him as I'm observing, someone who does go out of their way to be liked, and they don't really like push the envelope and push people to think critically or speak up when something is bullshit. They just happy to have their job and they want to be liked by white folks mostly.
So everybody want to be.
Although I don't like coon work.
So at the end of the day, that's the best. That's the best way. So if you're gonna be a coon, you want to be mid level. You want to be in the middle because we don't know what you're doing it for. But we have an inkling that it's for something bigger than that.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? All right, that's what.
But the moral of the story is, if you're not a coon, if you're doing things that may be compromising, but you're giving back to your community.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's when you're mid-level, because we don't know.
So R.I.P. Sammy Davis Jr., Lincoln Perry, Hattie McDaniel, Jackie Robinson, because they paved the way.
Wayne's Brothers Show. All right, though. We're going to get up out of here, man. But until next time, man, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share it. Don't forget to comment, man. Let us know what you think about this. I know we got a lot of coons going on in our community. A lot of talk of it. I know y'all know. Let us know something that we ain't talk about. All right. Until next time, subscribe.
Bye.